I think it's time to walk around the different gardens to go see what's growing. Oh, she's sleeping. She says, not me, not now. I've got so much going on in the gardens that I keep picking and freezing, and it's getting so full. And then all of a sudden, there's more to harvest and more to freeze or just eat. I'm listening to the ravens call. What a beautiful morning. Hi, it's Robbie from Southern California, and I'm out picking greens to make a green drink on the first day of October. My goodness, the year is going by quick, but that's all right. We're going into the holiday season. We've got a whole new season to deal with right now. And some of you who are not gardening, you'll be gardening again. I have some of you tell me, oh, we're done. We're putting everything away. We're stacking stuff or we're ignoring it. Our growing season's over. Let me tell you something. You only got 3 months left in this entire year. After the holidays, we all start thinking of what seeds we want to get, what we want to start growing. It's only 3 months away for the start of growing a new garden. But let's talk today about what's going on here in Southern California. This is my chair garden. Let me step back. The easiest garden to grow, the easiest garden to maintain and take care of. Fastest, everything. I can't say anything bad about this except I think I made a mistake in here, and I'll show you that in a minute. Oh my goodness, I come out here in the morning and I go through to pick greens here. Look at the beautiful purple. Look at this, tree colored. That's growing in there. All is good in there. The tomatoes, some of them are kind of wasting away now. It's as the weather cools at night. Some of them will make it, some of them won't. And we've got hornworms. I occasionally find them on there now. Why? Because the orioles are all gone. Oh, we have a lot of insect eaters, but they can't eat that much. And once they get big, our small birds that are here, the warblers, even the mockingbirds, they sometimes don't want such a big caterpillar. So if they get in there and they find them really little, then they'll go ahead and pluck them off. But when they're big, they kind of leave them there. I don't want to show you why plants that are dying back are a good thing. Now here is a problem, and it's my fault. This is a canna, and I love these because look at this. The hummingbirds love the flower, but I'm going to tell you something. Gary warned me. If I don't move that plant eventually, it could bust that container because they get a massive root system. For now, I'm going to leave it. If it cracks, I'll figure something out later. But look at that. Is that not magnificent? And you know, this was a baby plant that came from over there where the benches are. There's a kind of a trail of where the water seeps down from the hillside naturally. And that's where the seeds fall. Well, they fall all over, but that's where the seeds are getting water. And that's where they grow. And I pluck it out and I move it around the property. And I've been growing my own. I remember when he bought that. He was so excited. He paid a lot of money for the seeds, I believe. But now we can grow all we want. The squash are still growing. I've got more squash coming up there. Here's more tomatoes that came up. They're doing really good. Oh yeah, hold on. Oh my goodness. You know, I really miss the orioles. The hummingbirds don't, but I do. You know how I knew? Because the top of the plant is gone. And that's the way they do their thing. But I've got some yellow squash, I believe, back through here. I've got the red vein sorrel. I've got green sorrel. This will have to be re-staked up better. I don't see any hornworm on here. They can't touch, but he can go through here and crawl across and go to this one. So right now I don't see any. I still have tomatoes. Red vein sorrel back there. Celery here. The tomatoes here. I'm not freezing anymore. I've got a freezer full. I've got more than enough. We'll pick as we need, and whatever happens to the rest, the deer will come through. The hornworms will eat. I'm not going to worry about all that right now. But let me show you over here. These tomato plants are dying back. Could it be from the hornworms? Maybe. But look what's happening with the tomato plants. Look what's wrapping around. That's Malabar spinach. It's using the leftover plant that is now gone to grow up. So a lot of times you think, oh, my plants are gone. I got to pull them out. Look around and see what you've got growing, because sometimes the plants that have wasted back and finished their life cycle are now being used as a plant stake. Isn't that amazing? Isn't nature wonderful? And this can happen in a lot of places. Here's some squash coming. Ouch. These spiky. Look at that. Yellow squash. Still growing. I thought it was pretty much done, but it wasn't. So a lot of times the plants that are no longer alive are even creating shade for new plants that are coming up from the bottom. And that's something you just don't think about a lot of times, that there's a reason why plants fade away. And when they fade and die back to the soil, they create more compost soil for all the other plants that are starting to grow. But they also create shade, weather protection, whether it's shade or wind protection or rain protection or whatever. Even the new plants can go underneath the dying plants and hide from, let's say, their predators. There's a lot of reasons that the plants will stay there for that long until it's time to fall to the ground. So that's something to think about. And then, of course, here, that was no maintenance at all this year. I didn't do anything but water it. And this was more for the butterflies. I've got milkweed in there and geraniums. I do have some flowers and celery. I did pick celery in there. I've got Swiss chard growing in there. So there are some things. I haven't picked this fruit. I should. Shark fin melon. Look at that. That's an amazing plant if you want something that's very different, because when you plant it, unlike squash that comes up in different places and they die back, but if there's fruit, the seeds will drop and come back up, even if they're 6 to 10 inches under the soil. The fig leaf gourd, when it dies back, it comes back from the roots it left in the ground. You don't need to have any seeds there. So that is a very unusual type of squash plant or gourd plant. And yes, you can eat them. I'm not crazy about it because my favorite plant is zucchini, and I've been freezing a lot of that. I should have enough for the winter as well, just slicing it up and putting it in bags and throwing it in the freezer. Oh, you know what? I can show you. Oh, that's where I was telling you. See all the baby plants there? Let me zoom in for a minute. That right there. That's where the seeds kind of fall and drift around on the hillside there. And then the water comes down, just natural water running off from the trees, the morning dew, just enough to start the seeds. Is that not cool? And those are growing on top of the wood chips or leaves that are there. I think it's actually leaves. And you just pick them up and then pop them in a pot. And you've got more cannas growing. And those are the red ones. And then this is the ponds. Gary's going to change the bathtub, he thinks, but maybe not till spring. That will be more of a planter there. And then I can concentrate on just doing these two here. Then I've got my moringa, and of course we've got the pomegranates that I planted from seed that are growing pomegranates. I didn't get to a lot of them, so something else got them. It could have been the ravens, it could have been squirrels. There's been a few I've gotten, but they've got some too. And then there's the wall. Look at that. I am still growing zucchini. I can show you that. Here I've got tomatillos. They came up in the soil, didn't have to plant them. That's the way they grow here. So I cater to them. And now we're going to have, probably, here's one. It fell off and it's sitting. They fall off sometimes and can sit on the leaves. And Gary's been picking them off the ground. Ooh, something ate that one. Ooh, I'm going to pop this one in my pocket, because I can freeze these really good. I actually wash these, peel them, just the outside cover, and then I pop them in the freezer. Celery, I don't know if I'll keep this one. It is a green one. It's gone to seed, so we'll have some celery on the ground probably. But I've got some, I think there's squash. Oh yeah. So I still have zucchini growing even now. If the plant is still doing good, see, we've got more zucchini through here. There's a female flower and a male flower. I actually hand pollinated it very oddly this morning. I stuck my finger in a male because I didn't have a brush, and then whipped it around the female, and that should be good enough. And then here, but I like keeping the older plants because sometimes they can winter over. This is not the only one I found this morning looking in. The one I didn't pick is still there. Let's see if I can get you in. See it? So this one's got 3, and I should get the big one off because I think I'll fry up some ground meat, grass-fed beef, and then I'll add in usually a whole zucchini, or I can add in a half depending on the side. And if I want to cut the meat even more, sometimes I cook some white rice, throw that in, and it gets your meat to last longer. These are just tomatoes. We've been really picking mainly from the chair garden and other places, though I do come through here. I left a lot of these tomatoes for nature. So if I walked by and I saw them, I picked them. And if, you know, if they weren't there, that was okay. So let them come here and I don't have to worry about that. This will all clean up. There's milkweed coming in through there. This is the tomatoes that came up on their own. There were too many. I had like 10 plants in each tote. That was way too many. And of course the pots are still growing on the bottom. I've got garlic chives and different things there. Milkweed here. A lot of milkweed because we've had a ton of butterflies. And then this is where my nasturtiums are. And I do believe there's still garlic in here because I picked some garlic. Oh yeah, there's a little one. Oh, it came to the top. That's not good. But I had garlic in there. And then I still have onions, and I've actually been leaving them. I might take the super small ones and replant them, and then take the bigger ones and keep using them. But I kind of left them outside. They don't mold when they're outside. They don't rot. Nature just holds them there. It's so cool. And that's the way I do a lot of my onions and things. Here I never got to them, but I surely cannot complain. I am using this in my green drink. Purple Swiss chard. Is that not beautiful? That goes in my green drink. All the walking onions growing. I'll clean it up this spring or over winter and plant something. I really wanted to do cucumbers, but I had a lot of cucumbers in my dog kennel. So I had more than enough cucumbers, but I will clean that up. Eggplant, yes, we've been picking them. And Gary forgot one back there. You can see it turn yellow. So I've been growing the eggplant, and then all through here is everything. I can't even tell you what's in here. There's tomatoes growing. I know there's tomatillos growing. And then this is just a Mexican sage. You don't eat that, but I've got my orange mint, Malabar spinach. These are horsefly-like bees, and they live in here, and they love all the flowers. Can you see them? They got blue eyes. I don't know if you can see him. He's checking us out. Very smart bees, I'll tell you. They are really smart, these carpenter bees. And as you can see, all the Malabar spinach. I'm going to end up forgetting what's in here because there's walking onions. I've got, this is actually turmeric. I put a piece in there, so that I've got turmeric growing in there. But isn't this cool? Look at all the stuff. Let me back up. There's no butterflies because the sun is just starting to come out. Isn't that, they got marigold flowers. They got all kinds of flowers growing in here. Celery growing in here again. Purple tree collard growing. Like I said, I'm going to forget a lot of stuff. I even got, I think there's a watermelon here. That's a canna I stuck there, another one of the baby ones. And then yes, avocado tree coming up on its own from a seed. These, remember, Gary brought a piece home. He stopped some guy was working on landscaping, and he asked him, what is that? And he said, it's Mexican sage. You want a piece? He gave him a piece, and Gary's got it growing. I've got it growing in the bird garden. I've got it just from one piece. You just divide them. They keep spreading, and you can grow a whole bunch. Here's our friendly lizard. He's guarding the place. Are you guarding the place for me? I guess so. And then in here, I saw there's a watermelon. I don't want to break it off, but there it is. Right here. Look at that. We've got a watermelon in there. And then look at this. It came up on its own. That's why I don't need any more tomatoes. Just come out here and use the tomatoes. Celery, move that down. And then there's the cars with our tomatoes growing, the San Marzanos. They're still doing okay. A little rough looking, the plant, but it's still doing its thing. There I've got the red vein sorrel and the green sorrel, and then I've got the walking onions. And this is almost gone. I just have to collect those and empty them out. Now this is an issue because this was put here and Gary threw a bunch of soil that was all over in here for me. There's no holes. There's no holes in this container. So if it gets wet, it's going to turn into a bog, which it has been. And then this came up and I couldn't figure out what this was. And then I looked at it. That's a Korean melon. So there must have been Korean melon, a fruit left from last year, because I did grow some here. And there must have been seeds in there. I think there was one that the rodents got. So I tossed it back into the soil wherever it was growing. And there was obviously a seed. It came up. And there it is. I'll leave it for now, but there's no holes in here. So I have to be careful watering it. This is Malabar spinach and then purslane. That's the whole side yard here. You know what? Let's go to the front yard and see what's going on. I love this. This is beautiful. It's just so alive and brings in so much nature, this garden now. Little alterations, and it's absolutely beautiful. Okay, to the front yard. Well, we're in the front yard, and yep, the front yard is wild. I'm letting it do its own thing. I probably will grow more in here come spring. I'm just gonna leave it be because right now we've got birds coming in here to eat the little aphids and bugs. We've got the geraniums growing on their own. I don't have to do anything. Red vein sorrel. I've got this brassica. There's no tool around it anymore, so off and on I've seen the squirrels come up here and chew on it. Remember when I had tool on it? I had a beautiful plant on the top, so I should rewrap it. And it's been kind of groomed. So we've been kind of putting the, I guess Gary comes through here and trims it. And then this is the one that came up from seed. So we're just trying to keep it neat-ish, but still have things growing. I mean, I'm growing a lot of, look at this, beautiful walking onions. And then look at my finger lime. Isn't this cool? I should pick these. They're so tiny, but they're limes. But this needs to be trimmed back too. So I'll be getting to that. Those are the totes I did in the spring. They held up really nice. So those totes, just to let you know, the black ones, the heavy duty ones, stackable ones, they last forever. So if you're having problems in, let's say, Arizona, Nevada, it's too hot, get the black ones. They're not that much more. The other totes have been really cheap, like $4 and $5. I've posted them when I found them, really at a good price. Those are about $10 to $12, but they're going to last forever. So it's whatever ones you want to get. But look, I've got mint, walking onions. I've got garlic chives growing in there. I've got a brassica standing nice and tall there. So you could grow a lot in there. I think there's some way in the back as well. This is a big old tote. That's like a 45-gallon Sterolite tote. That's been there for years. And also, if you're in an area, see how the black has kind of, I'll use the word oxidized from the sun. See how it looks more gray than black? I could hit that with paint, and it would even, if it was a cheaper tote, it would even last longer. My table, I haven't done much with it. I've got some turmeric growing down there. We're going to go straight into the bird garden pretty much. This has been all cleaned up. This is a really pretty succulent. I've had this thing for years, and look how nicely shaped it is. Kind of like a bonsai. Isn't that cool? And then I've got my palm tree that is double potted. This one, because it came up from seed, and Gary wants it out. And why? Like I tell you all the time, that's why. Very scary if you let it go. I don't know who planted that one, but it wasn't us. Though it should have been taken down years ago because it wasn't that tall. But I like it. The orioles, a lot of birds nest in it and they hang out in it. And that's why I like my palm trees. Okay, so we can go through here. And then this did not do that well. Now this one, I know what's going on. I finally figured it out. This is doing good. This is ginger. See how skinny the leaves are? And then the big leaves are turmeric. The turmeric is doing much better on the other side of the yard where the chair garden is, but not as good as normally it does. And I figured out what's going on. This too, we go from really green, look at this, to looking to looking worse, right? I have to be very careful how I word this. Let's put it this way. I'll step out here. There's a draft coming through here. I've talked about it before. See the canyon? If I see certain words, it doesn't get blocked, but you know what I'm saying. The canyon has a breeze coming up, and it is blowing directly through the chain link. So at night, and we've had a cooler summer. So at night, we've been in like the upper 50s or low 60s when we should have been all through the 60s and upper 60s. We've got, look at the ravens. We've got this breeze coming through the canyon. It blows through here, comes through the chain link, and it's blowing on them. So these plants are getting a cool breeze now that they never got years ago. Now I'm going to fix that. I know we're getting close to the end of the season because in 2 months I'm going to be ripping all that out anyway, storing it, and then replanting it in late spring. I'm going to put something here, and that will stop that. Will it fix it completely? Probably not. Is it too late? Probably, because it really needed a lot of growth all summer, but that's what it is. So when you stand here and you see the chain link, Think about this if you were growing and saying something's not growing really good anymore. That's what's happening. See? So I'm going to cover this up. Oh, maybe when I get a chance in the next week or so. And will it help it completely? I don't know. Because I can find other areas that are better, but it's the breeze. This is what took out our big giant papaya trees or plants that were on the other side of the bird garden where the rainbow garden was. If you think back or look back at the old videos, you'll see that we had big Mexican papayas, strawberry papayas, and then within 2 years, they were all gone. Oh, I've got a different bird up there. Hold on. Hold on, hold on. Let's see if I can see this. Look, look. What is that? Kingbird? Mockingbird eating the figs. So it wiped him out on the other side with the canyon breeze. And so that's what's going on. Here, there's a lot of shelter going on. Look at this plant. Is this not a gorgeous plant? It's one plant that split off in two on the bottom. And look at that. Guess what it is? This is broccoli. It's not growing any broccoli now, but it was my broccoli plant. Took off the broccoli heads anytime it started to grow, and I ended up with a massive leaf plant. And I love it. Look how beautiful this is. This goes into all my green drinks. So I've been kind of keeping it groomed, which has been really good, and it's doing fantastic. I am so excited with that. How long it will last for, I don't know. I've had broccoli plants last for 4 and 5 years. If you keep up with them, eventually they're going to die back. They're just a plant that lasts it's a short life, but it's not an annual. Keep that in mind. If you take care of it, you can have them for a very long time. So we are using it. I actually made a casserole with them yesterday, and I used the leaves, and it's really doing good. So it's in the pot down here, and then I've got another pot there. So it's in there. Kind of grew 2 shoots up, I believe. I don't think it's 2 plants, but it could be. It just came up, it looked like, in the bottom. It might have broke and then set up 2 branches and grew that way, but it's doing really good. And then I've got the walking onions. This is my blanket flower. This is a wild plant native to California. I think it's called sticky monkey bush. This I propagated. Took a walk, I took a hike, and took a piece home, and finally it's taking off, but I'm layering. See where it is? And there's about 5 plants in here. I put all the cuttings in there and they all made it, but that's okay. And as this grows, I'm going to do more cuttings off of it. Tomato plant that came up on its own, more walking onions, geraniums. And then of course, we've got all the dragon fruit, and my goodness, do we have dragon fruit. We are eating it every day, and Gary's freezing it. Look at my pomegranate. Oh, the birds are going to love that. That was put there to give them branches and cover for in here, especially come spring. It's going to lose its leaves eventually as we go into winter, and then it will regrow. It looks very much like my lemon verbena, though a completely different plant. But I did put it in there in a pot. It's back there sitting on that stump. And this will give a little shelter to this, dog crate for the birds to feed in. And then this is my bat face kufia. The hummingbirds love it. This is the hummingbird's lunch. They're both kufia. See, this is a kufia, and this one's a kufia. These I got at Lowe's, and this, I think I bought it at Home Depot years ago, and I've been doing cuttings off of it. And look at this. Oh, the blanket flower. There's different plants in here. This one is one I propagated. These go years. And then this is the original plant back here that showed up on its own. This is my bird garden. I'm trying to extend it out. So I'm bringing it that way more. And I'm bringing it that way more because there's too many birds in here. We're talking of hundreds of birds that come to feed here, bathe here, hang out. And there's over 50 species of small birds now. So I just want to give them more room. I mean, they seem to be all fine. There's no quarreling or anything going on, but they'll give me more places to sit and do bird watching. Do I have time to do a lot of bird watching? No, but I do enjoy it. So I come out here every morning, I have coffee, and I watch the birds. And then here, I've got the totes They're about 8, 9 years old, these green totes. You could hit them with paint. I could paint. I'm gonna leave them. And then here I've got mint and onions and peppers. I've got peppers growing here. We've been harvesting peppers off of this. Is there any more? Oh, they're starting. Because I've been harvesting through there. And then I've got Swiss chard. Isn't that beautiful, this one? Again, they go in my green drink or food. This is just a pineapple sage for the hummingbirds. Now this is interesting. This is marigold. It's a big old marigold plant. And what happened was my pineapple sage started to die back. And I thought, uh-oh, well, the sun had shifted. The sun was now coming over the house and the pineapple sage was getting too much sun. I didn't have a lot I could do besides do cuttings off of it or try to pull it out. It's in a pot, but it sent its roots into the tote. So I put this here. And this is leaning over, giving it enough shade that the plant is now flowering again and happy. Because I created a microclimate. So now this is protecting it from there. And if there is a little draft coming through here at all, it's protected. So you can create microclimates simply by bringing other plants over as well. And this is where I propagate a lot. That's not a table. I'm going to have to talk about that. Tables were expensive. So I got this special shelving unit and it's been working out fantastic. Look. This had died. This was broke off another plant. It was all droopy yesterday. I stuck it in here and look, it's popped up and the flower opened. Very easy to propagate, the blanket flowers. Chocolate mint all through here. And then this is just more geraniums that I've got. Oh, this is gorgeous. Red vein sorrel. Don't overuse sorrel. Don't make a salad out of this and sit down and eat it. It's just too strong. It can pull the calcium out of you, but just use it sparsely. This is just something, it's kind of like using Swiss chard too. You don't overuse it. I've seen people say make a big salad and eat it. I wouldn't. I put a couple of them in my drinks, or if I'm making a salad, a couple of these. It's a good plant, but you don't overuse certain plants. So it's got too many oxalates in it, is what it is. And then, oh, the sun is coming out. So it comes and goes. And that's the one that was in my deck, on my deck where the hummingbirds are. And I moved it here, and it's a really good place for it. The birds come and use it here. But this is the bird garden. And this is one of my favorite places. And then I've got more kufias. Oh, this. I'm very excited about this. Now, this papaya was in the back. You probably don't remember, but 2-3 years ago, I had it back there and it was all chewed up. It wasn't doing good. So I dug it out, even though it was in a pot. It's kind of like some of the roots started to go through and I put it there. Not the smartest thing to do, but I did. Too close to the gazebo. I've got it staked up now. And my goal was to get it to grow up. I didn't even think it was going to make it. I think if I knew for sure it was going to make it, I'd really think about it. Well, it got chewed up again right at this joint. It started to shoot off a little one. It shot this one off. And now it's taking off. So what I'm going to do is stake it up. It's in a pot, but there's no bottom on that pot. I'm going to let it keep going. And once it gets a little taller, I'm going to start chopping away at my brassica. Because my goal is to get it to go up. If it makes it, great. And if it doesn't, I'll try again. I wish I was joking, but I've got 100 papaya plants right now. Half of which are Mexican papaya. Oh my goodness. And this, I'm not even sure what it is, but I've got strawberry papaya and Mexican papaya growing. Look, more bat face. Isn't that beautiful? They were real little, if you remember me buying it at Home Depot. And now they're in a bigger pot. I transplanted it. Still trying to figure out where I'm going to put them. I've got so many. These are beautiful. Just brassicas, hybrids. Again, we eat them. And it's wonderful. And then I've got the zinnias all over the place. I don't have to buy zinnia seeds anymore. You collect them and throw them and they'll grow. There's a water feature that's you can barely see because it's so overgrown. All these are cuttings. Taking tiny pieces of the kufia plants and then just putting it in a pot and taking really good care of it. Sometimes there's different times of the year that's better to propagate. But look how big they got. I pushed it back with stakes there, and it was like, oh my goodness. And then this is the Mexican sage that the guy gave Gary a little piece. Look at the bees all over it right now. Oh, they're having a blast. He gave him a piece. He brought it home. Then he broke off and gave me a piece. Now he's got it in his garden. And then I've got it all over the place. And all you have to do is get down inside there and pull a piece off. It might have a little bit of root, but you'll get it from the base, and then you just keep on going. Like another blanket flower. This is just mint on the bottom, growing through here. But look at this. One of my plants that I propagated. It's a full-size plant now. Now this you'd want to take off because once the flower's done, you really do want to cut them off. I don't have a scissors, but you don't want to really rip. You cut them off because you want it to keep flowering. I would not try to grow from seed on this anymore. I've tried too many times and I could not get the seeds to do their thing. But as far as taking cuttings, wonderful. I've kind of got it down now where I can just take as many cuttings as I want. I know what piece has to be cut off because some don't work and some do. Get them in a pot and bam, they grow. And this needs a little grooming. Again, you just go through, take off the leaves that are no good and shove them back in. It turns into your compost and soil. And that's all, again, red vein sorrel. And then I've got the walking onions. This is another lemon verbena. I just bought this. I bought this at a local nursery. It was really small in a pot. I changed pots and look how big it is. You know what my goal is? I'll walk over and show you. To be that size. That's a tree. They sell it as an herb. So when you go to the garden stores, you'll find them and they're just in a little pot. Remember, if you shape it right and take care of it, look at the trunk. Turns into a beautiful tree and it makes the greatest tea. Now the seeds that are in there, the tiny seeds, a lot of your small birds that come to visit your garden eat that. But they love to hide in there because it's so wispy. They can see, they can float with the plant back and forth and keep an eye out of things that are overhead. And they feel safe. And it's just a beautiful plant. You can't see it, but there's two. There's one there and there's one that's being drowned out in the back there. I've got to trim a lot of this back. It just got so wild. This is some sort of, Gary's not here. It's a sunflower plant of some sort. But it's a perennial. So he had it somewhere. It wasn't doing well. I said, well, if it's not doing well, then bring it over here. It's in a pot. Trimmed it all back and it's doing really good now. Look, sending up new growth all through here. We'll just all have to watch it grow. It's supposed to be a beautiful plant. More brassicas coming up from seed. Those are all brassicas down there. Hybrids. Look how beautiful. Beautiful to eat. Obviously the birds, that is bird damage. So the goldfinches get on here and the house finches and they eat it and they make the little holes in the leaves. That's okay. There are some countries that when people go shopping, they don't want to buy the food at the markets unless they see little holes. If they see little holes, then they know it's safe to eat because if something else wanted it, then it's good. If you see it and it looks way too pretty, sometimes that's not good. They may be spraying it with something. So that's another way of knowing what's going on. See what else here? No, I'm just setting this up right now and we'll see how that goes. Will I have to move it later? Maybe, but that's all right. That's all compost in there. So I can take that out and move it as time goes on. I won't have to move these because they've got new laws coming because these are small. Anything under 5 gallons is okay. It just so happens my dish pans are only 4.5 gallons. It's okay. So this may have to be moved at some point. For now, I'll leave it. I have 3 years. We've talked about that. Oh boy. And then this is going to be trimmed out at some point. I mean, this is just, it went all over the place. It's a tree colored. So I am doing cuttings. These are the best cuttings to do. See how nice and straight it is? So you cut it and plant it and it will grow. So I'm trying to get cuttings. I am doing cuttings off of them right now. And then what is through here? Here's our little friendly horse. Oh my goodness. Anyways, it's a carpenter bee. And they follow me around the yard. And they have blue eyes. I think I got a photo once of them with blue eyes. They're so pretty. So they follow me around the yard. This has to be strung up right away. I took this tomato plant. You saw it. I got hundreds and hundreds of cherry tomatoes off of it. It was 2 types. There was the sun gold and then a regular cherry tomato. Cut it all the way back. This is not a new plant. This is the same plant. And it's just suddenly, this is no joke. It's basically grew overnight because 2 days ago I came out here and it was like this. And I thought, well, I've got a few days to do it. And I came out just now before I started this and looked at it and thought, oh my goodness, it took off on me. So I'm just going to put some rope around there and string it up a little bit Could always trim it back because that's what I did. I trimmed it back and it grew again. It's already starting with tomatoes. I see tomatoes on. Look at this. A second batch out of the same old plant that was planted in early spring. Tree collard. See, that one's in the ground. But I layer a lot. I put pots everywhere because pots here, because we're warm during the day, keeps plants alive. And that's just layering. It keeps moisture and dampness under the plant to make sure that it doesn't dry out. Again, cuttings that I've done all through here. So this is the kufia, the hummingbird's lunch, just chocolate mint, garlic chives, my moringa that's still growing. We'll see how long it grows. I guess once it cools down, it'll lose its leaves. What I'm trying to do right now is go through the moringa. When I make a green drink every day, I grab extra leaves, I wash them, and I'm throwing them in a plastic bag in the freezer. So in the spring, I'll be able to grab some leaves out and throw it in my green drink. Nothing much under here. See, I'm doing cuttings. See how it's starting to grow? Just cutting off the tree collards and taking care of them and making sure they stay nice and damp. Then I've got a pepper plant that never found a home yet. These are from Walmart, those orange mini bells or mini peppers. Just sitting there. I use pine cones sometimes if things are leaning. See, it was leaning too much. Now it's leaning the other way. So sometimes pine cones work really good. And if pine cones don't work, you can always stick a rock back there. Okay, I need a bigger rock than that. You got the idea. Prop it up with nature. Why not? And then this is just another geranium I had bought at the nursery. This one was called Bunny Lunch or something. It's supposed to smell like carrots. It does. It does when you touch it. It smells like carrots. All right, let's go out in the rainbow garden now. Well, the rosemary is doing beautiful. Look at the flowers. Don't they have gorgeous? I want to make sure there's no bees there. Look at them. Gorgeous flowers. Isn't that beautiful? That's my rosemary bush. There's a couple more through there. They're so shaded by the other plants. They're not as big anymore. But this one gets a lot of sun, and it's right next to our cocktail grapefruit plant. Oh, that's potatoes. It's turning yellow. It's going to be soon ready to harvest. I haven't even harvested my other ones yet. So I hope this spring this is going to look different. I'll work on it in the winter because I left this for the butterflies. So very little was done in this rainbow garden. I grew tomatoes, which was really good, but a lot of it was milkweed, and I want to get the milkweed moved. Now that you know, back there, I made a butterfly garden, and it worked fantastic. So I'll get that moved. Look at that. Little piece of turmeric got in there, and it's growing. That'll be interesting to pull up later. So this will be pulled out, re-cleaned, and it's not just cleaned out. I'm going to dig out most of the soil, get the milkweed in pots so I can move it around, and then I'll start putting leaves and stuff back. And come spring, I'm going to hopefully go right into this with watermelon, squash, things that I like, because this year I froze a ton. I should be good all winter. Look at this. Even this was changed up. This wasn't like this last year. The buckets right now are growing peppers and pepino. Pepino's on the top. The hummingbird lunch got moved here. It's in a pot. I wasn't sure where to put it, so I stuck it here. I had put it in a bigger floral pot I had or something from the nursery. So I've got some peppers growing back here. The tomato plant is growing okay. I've got more peppers here. This worked out really well for peppers. I've got an eggplant growing in there now. That's purslane that I also add into my green drink. I add purslane and Malabar spinach that I've got growing here. And then I've got more peppers in the back. This is a pepper plant. So this has worked out perfect. I'm going to build on that. I can get some peppers. Oh, somebody picked a pepper and threw it on the ground. Could be a squirrel. But this has worked out really good for peppers. I can get other plants on the bottom here too. This is just a geranium cutting I had years ago. Came home with a piece that big. And now I've got, this is like a Martha Washington, a purple flower all over the place. More red vein sorrel. Look at that. Isn't that beautiful? But yes, this is all going to be redone here. See, I've been having problems this year. I moved it here and it's making a comeback. There's been even now standing here, it's coming up through the canyon. And when I moved here, there was no wind at all. I had no wind. I had wind toys out that slowly spun, you know, in circles. I can't put any wind toys up here anymore. If I say why, then the video gets marked down as something weird. So I'm not going to even say why, but you got the idea. So that's what's going on here. And then this is my pizza garden, which is now really an herb garden. I've got different mints. This is a mint growing here. This is just a little piece of turmeric in there. I've got sage back here. I've got, look at this. This is over a year old now. This is basil. I left it and it grew back. I should collect some of the seeds. There'll be seeds in here. Then this one is Thai basil. Gary bought that. Thyme, rosemary, more basil down there. I had to think for a minute. Oregano. I've got oregano growing on the ground. I've got oregano growing in the back a little bit, but that's all oregano. So it's turned into an herb garden, and that's okay. I think I'm going to build on that. But I have to get ready to do my pizza because I do more pizzas, fresh homemade pizza, in the winter when I'm in the house early. You know, come 4:30, it's dark. What are you going to do? You get in the house, too early for dinner, let's make pizza. So I've got to gather up all my herbs now so I'm ready when I'm in the house and go, yep, it's time to make a pizza shell, gluten-free. So I'm going to get that together real soon. I was talking about papayas before. This is walking onions. I've been just sticking them in here. It's not even enough soil in here. But I stick the babies in there and look, they're coming up everywhere. You think I'm kidding? Let's start with this one. I'm growing sow thistle for the birds. That's what this is. It's a weed, but that's okay. It's going to get moved into the bird garden. My loves. Oh, they're quite small. This is strawberry papaya. You see, these are all walking onions I'm sticking in here. Those are still in the food container, mind you. See that? Okay. So I took a few out, thinking they're not all going to live, right? Okay. They're growing. Look at that. I've got to get them all planted either in cups or something. Look how big they're getting. Now, why are they growing good here? Because they're sheltered. And this is how they've been here all summer. And they're very happy. And look how big they have gotten. Now, I'll move them around for the winter, but right now they're staying there. This is the small dog kennel. I did a whole video on the dog kennel, so you can go back and watch that. But I've got a lot of lettuce growing. I've got geraniums that I started in here. Here, we'll walk around this way. There's so much empty space. I've got to get into that. I was going to set up a whole garden here out of buckets, and I never got to it. So I'll do it later. Look at the big dog kennel. Like I said, I just did the video, so it's good to go watch. Now this has to be pulled out. This won't grow, so I have to go inside and pull it out. That's a watermelon. You know what? I might leave it because if it can't grow here and cut it, it will concentrate on the watermelon. Though I really do think it's too late for watermelon at this point, but yeah, I can try. I see an avocado pit got in there and it's growing there, but look at, I've got cucumbers I got to go get. And then this is still a watermelon. Then that one's probably ready to be picked. We had about 4 watermelon here. So that's not bad. I wanted 10, but I'm going to do things different next year. And that's his, look at that. This is popolo here, that big bush. Gary wants it to go to seed. We've got seeds from years ago, but he wants fresh seeds and they grow true because there's nothing else like that plant. Look at all that. Peppers all through here, all colors, all free. I see red ones, yellow ones, orange ones, more red ones. There's some back here you can't see. The peppers were all from that video I made back in February or March. I'm buying the little package for what, $4 of the baby bells or mini peppers. And then I showed you how to process them, use the fruit that you bought, the one package, and then how to keep the seeds. Got lettuce I'm starting in there. And then see a tree collard I'm propagating in there? And their mustard came up in here. There's no soil in there, it's just leaves. But that is a mustard plant. Let's see. This has been really good. I've got to get the squash out of here. I know I've got zucchini all through and different ones. I think I picked this one, but some of them still have zucchini I'm picking. Now these have to be harvested. I did not get to them. These are all potatoes except for this. And this has now got the tomatillos growing in it. I dragged over a bucket. It had wood chips in it. I kept waiting for the potatoes to grow and I forgot. I never planted potatoes. And then this came up. So it worked out really good. So I've got now tomatillos that blew in there or got pooped in there from a bird. But these are all potatoes. And I've got to find the time this week to dump it, get the potatoes out that I want to cook and eat, and then replant them so they'll grow back. Now they may or may not, it depends on our weather. If it's real cool, they may not start growing until maybe later in the spring, but they could. A lot of times, let me keep going. Here in Southern California, you can grow potatoes almost all year. And then these are the other chairs here. Look at this. There literally have been 100 ravens hanging around. I don't know. They've been just hanging around. And then I've got the zinnias. Zinnias growing everywhere. Look. So you collect the seeds. I really should pull them off, but this is what I do. This is why they're growing everywhere. It's like, oh, I've got seeds. Oh, look, no lettuce. Oh, let's put a little bit of seeds around. And then I walk away, and I don't think about it. I come back a month later. I got zinnias growing everywhere. And, gee, how did they get in there? Yeah, how did they get in there? And that's how they got in there. But they're everywhere, and I think they're beautiful. This one's it's done. It's kind of burnt out, but it's so pretty. I really should take a picture, label them, and collect all my seeds. But right now, I just toss them around. This is potato mint. Doing very good. This is purslane that came up. But well, the purslane's in a pot. See? Everything is layered. And the potato mint are growing in these dish pans. These are the greatest things to grow in. They're cheap. They're under $5 at Walmart. I must have bought 30 or 40. They're so easy to grow everything. Turmeric, ginger, squash, tomatoes. Anything you want, you can grow in there. They look small, but they're as big as a 5-gallon bucket. And you can stack them nicer. Because a bucket, when you put them next to each other, see how they're round? You lose all that space. With these, it's square. And they fit together better. So you get more space with those than you ever will with a bucket. So it depends on what you're growing, on how you want to do it. I wanted to go with buckets here for potatoes, and then the square ones I'm going to do different things. Are my fountains going? So that's it. We have gone all the way around the garden. You've seen everything. More zinnias that came up. Look at that. Everywhere. Don't have to buy any more seeds once you start. Just collect the seeds. Look at these are all going to open soon. Like within a day or two. Are they not beautiful? And you know what's nice with zinnias? They stay open for quite a while. Some flowers open up like your dragon fruit. They're open for a few hours at night. In the morning, they're done. But these things can stay open sometimes for a week. All right, so we've done our walk. More potato mint. You've seen that already. I hope you enjoyed this. I mean, I know we're going into winter. We're going to still be growing. I'm planting brassicas. I don't need to plant more peppers, but I'm going to get a lot more seeds planted that I want. Probably should get my act together and get some cabbage growing. But I do garden different than a lot of other people. A lot of you run to go plant your seeds and grow something new, where Gary, you've seen his garden. It's a food forest, which everything takes care of itself. And that's kind of what I do in my garden. I have a lot of brassicas, especially in the bird garden, even pepinos. This just keeps on growing. This plant is over a year old. And then that pepino plant right here, this long one here, that's like 3 years old. I plant a lot of stuff and I keep them growing. Like I said, even the basil here, the green basil, same thing. It's from over a year ago. So I have a lot of plants that just keep on growing. So if I planted nothing right now, I would still be able to come out here all winter, unless something really bad happens, and forage and not have to think about planting anything till spring. There are certain things, no matter what we do, we're not going to grow watermelon this time of the year. The cucumbers are done. All your heat-loving plants are pretty much done. If you go to plant them now and try to get them growing, you're really not going to get anything. If you're in an area where you could create some shelter against a wall, you might be able to grow tomatoes. I have been walking around seeing baby tomato plants coming up everywhere. You saw the one in the bird garden that I cut all the way back to the ground. They've already grown. So there are certain things you can grow, but there's some plants like the mushroom plant, even sometimes parsley or basil, you can grow on a windowsill all winter and harvest from that to add to your soups or stews or whatever you want to harvest it and use it in. And even lettuce, because you can control that in a dish pan. You can bring them in and out, and you can control your lettuce with the weather. So I hope I'm giving you tips and tricks and ideas. I hope you enjoyed this. Please leave your comments and let me know. And let me thank all the members, because your support really does help with helping feed the birds. We've got hundreds and thousands of them now, and it really is greatly appreciated. Thank you. And thank you for the subscribers that have been with us for so many years, and the new ones coming on. It really touches our heart. And you know what? It helps keep us going. So if there's any time I'm tired and I think, oh, does anybody really care? I think about all the comments I read. I think about all this and think, nope, I guess they're not tired of me yet, so I'm going to keep on going. So with that, have a wonderful day, and don't forget to eat what you grow. Bye-bye. And this tomato plant's still throwing tomatoes. Amazing. Okay, you need a good trimming, especially if you're trying that hard.